When Sergio, the king of Duranguense music, was at the peak of his career, thousands of fans followed him enthusiastically. However, his success has also brought dangerous people into his life. On December 2, 2007, Sergio disappeared after a concert in Mexico, and on December 3, his body was found on the side of the Morelia Road. This tragic event deeply shook both his fans and Mexican regional music. An investigation was launched, but many questions remain unanswered, even years later. If you're ready, let's get started. Don't forget to subscribe and share your comments. Sergio Gómez Sanchez was born on June 2, 1973 in Ciudad Hidalgo, in the Mexican state of Michoacán. He was the third of 5 children born to Baldomero Gómez and Maria del Carmen Sanchez. Despite his family's economic difficulties, he had a cheerful childhood. Music was a part of his life from an early age, and his father was a member of the regional band Happy Boys, which further fueled his interest in music. Following in his father's footsteps, he eventually began to dream of becoming a great artist. At a young age, his interest in the traditional musical culture of Mexico, combined with northern Mexican music and romantic ballads, led him to explore different styles of music. However, his passion for music was in conflict with the difficulties of making a living and the responsibility of helping his family. During this period, she earned a living by singing at special events. It was during this time that he met a young girl named Felicitas, and they soon decided to marry, although they were still in their teens. In the 1990s, with the desire to make a better life in America, the couple decided to leave Mexico and settle in Chicago. Here, a large Latino community and music scene welcomed them. Once in the city, Sergio started working as a sound assistant in the band De Durango. He then had the opportunity to sing professionally with the group De Durango. During this period, he met Rafael and Armando, one of the turning points of his musical journey. In late 2002, they formed the band K-Paz de la Sierra, creating a unique identity in the style of Duranguense music. The group quickly gained immense popularity, and the Duranguense movement began to spread from Mexico to the United States. Sergio and his band established themselves firmly in the regional music scene, collaborating with many artists and becoming one of the most demanded and appreciated bands in the music industry. As success and popularity grew, the challenges of celebrity began to manifest themselves. The first conflicts centered around the organization of the group and relationships with its members. As the leader of K-Paz de la Sierra, Sergio had full control over financial decisions and earnings, but this made some band members uncomfortable. Sergio was dominant within the group and ignored other members' demands for more influence, which led to tensions between them. Eventually, in May 2007, the group disbanded, but this decision sparked further conflicts. After the dissolution of the band, Sergio, not wanting to upset his fans, formed a new band called K-Paz de la Sierra. However, the former band members sued Sergio, filing legal complaints over the rights to the trademark. After several months of disputes, Sergio's right to use the trademark was confirmed, but he had to make changes to the songs. However, Sergio violated this agreement, and once again there was tension with his former members. Despite all these problems, Sergio continued to play music and continued to give concerts with his new band. However, he was unaware of the dangers that followed. On December 1, 2007, K-Paz de la Sierra gathered to give an unforgettable concert to 40,000 people at the Morelos Stadium in Morelia. That night, there was no doubt that she would celebrate one of the most important moments of her career. However, the fact that he was escorted by security personnel hired for this special night created a strange atmosphere among his friends, because Sergio had never had security like this before. What made the situation even stranger was Sergio's attitude. Normally sympathetic and cheerful, he was nervous that night. Before the show, no one dared to ask him what was worrying him. But a few minutes before, just before he went on stage, Sergio approached his friend Humberto to tell him that he was feeling strangely out of sorts. He then said, "If I die soon, I'm happy that I made it to the top of K-Paz de la Sierra." After these strange and dark words, the band took the stage and put on the biggest show of their career. However, without realizing it, that night's show would be their last. After singing his hits, Sergio, as usual, had fun with his fans. When the show ended, the lights went out and everyone left. They planned to leave at midnight as they had to get to Puerto Vallarta for the band's next concert. They started traveling in 3 vans, one with Sergio and 2 friends, Victor Hugo Sanchez and Javier Ribera, the others with the band members. Around 3 a.m., their convoy set off. But after a few kilometers, a group of about 10 vans caught up with them and stopped them in the middle of the road. Men with rifles got out of the vehicles and went around the vans one by one, seizing the one with Sergio by force and kidnapping him. The other group members watched in shock, but decided not to inform the authorities because they feared retribution. As the hours passed, there was still no news of Sergio and despair gripped the whole group. The next day, news of Sergio's disappearance began to appear in the media. The band had attracted attention for not showing up at their show in Puerto Vallarta. At that moment, the police mobilized to find Sergio. On the morning of December 3rd, the body of a man around 35 years old was found on the road to In Morelia. Police and witnesses confirmed that the body was Sergio's. His face was disfigured, but the Black Panther tattoo on his left arm helped them identify him. The forensic examination revealed that Sergio's body had signs of torture, blows, burns, and signs of strangulation. This showed how horrific and brutal his death had been. Following the murder of Sergio, the investigation began quickly, but the case remains complex and ambiguous. The way the body was treated, the signs of torture, and the fact that it was dumped on the side of the road suggested that the murder could have been the work of organized crime groups. At the time, Mexico was under the control of drug cartels, and innocent people were falling victim to this criminal war. One of the strongest theories was based on the allegation that Sergio was threatened by organized crime before performing at the Morelos Stadium. A year earlier, Sergio's refusal to pay ground rent to local criminals, which was required to be paid in order to perform, had generated a threat of revenge against him. It was also learned that Sergio ignored the new threat he received a week ago, preferring to fulfill his promise to perform his concerts to his fans. This was attributed to the influence of the La Familia Michoacana cartel. Rumor has it that the cartel leader El Chayo had ordered Sergio's murder in revenge for his association with their rival Los Zaz. Apart from that, Sergio's affairs were also raising suspicions. At the time, he was rumored to be having an extramarital affair with a young woman. Her boyfriend was an influential drug dealer, in which led to a quest for revenge. In addition, financial problems and artistic disagreements within the band made his former bandmates suspicious. However, all these theories remained speculation without any definitive conclusion. Another theory was speculation that his wife, Felicitas, was involved. This hypothesis, however, attracted more attention from the sensationalist media and fans. While the investigations were inconclusive, in 2009, 2 former members of La Familia Michoacana provided important information about the criminal organization. According to their testimony, Sergio's murder was planned by cartel leader El Chayo and carried out by the hitman Arnoldo Rueda. However, these statements could not explain the exact motive for the murder. La Familia Michoacana's violence and control of the region remained the strongest theory behind Sergio's murder. At the time, a challenge to the cartel was considered a personal affront. In 2009, Linza's capture sparked a series of attacks, raising the ire of the cartel, and the Mexican government continued its war against this criminal organization. Linza was extradited to the US in 2018 and sentenced to prison. Rumors of El Chayo's death also spread in 2010, but this was never confirmed. In 2014, El Chayo was confirmed dead, thus ending years of speculation. However, those responsible for Sergio Gómez's murder have still not been brought to justice. On December 12, 2007, Sergio Gómez's body was buried in the Wester Park Cemetery in Indianapolis, where he and his family had lived for many years. Family, friends, and followers from Ciudad Hidalgo gave him an emotional send-off. Although his loss left a deep pain, this moment was a celebration of his life and music career. 17 years after his murder, impunity remains a scar. But Sergio is remembered for his joy, charisma, and music. Despite his short career, his legacy lives on in the songs of Durango, reminding us of the enduring power of music. Once again, dear viewers, thank you for participating in this broadcast. If you found today interesting and informative, please leave a like or comment. If you haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to become part of this great community. See you again in the next broadcast.